Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So we have a book review in today's video, book reviews I should say. So I'm going to share about just recent books that I've read over the last few months, including family read alouds, some nonfiction, books for book club, and some audiobooks, etc. So it's fun to share these videos because I like to watch them myself and just get a little feedback of maybe some books that I might be interested in reading. It's also really great to know for family read alouds if a book is good or worth the time. And over the summer, I'll be doing some pre-readings, so I'll be including that in my book reviews as well. So hopefully this video is just helpful and, if anything, just interesting to see what some of these books are about and if they are going to be worth your time. So if you are currently reading a book, let me know what it is down below as I am making my summer book reading list to see what I can tackle. It's definitely been a busy few months with the baby and winter season, so I didn't get as much books read, but I'm happy with whatever I can get read because I know it is a part of just nurturing myself as a mother and just having some sort of joy and activity in my life outside of being a homeschool mom. So I'm going to tackle the nonfiction first. So I have 3 books that I finished and read these last few months. So the first one is something that I worked on for the last year. This is volume 2 of the Charlotte Mason 6-book series. This is Parents and Children. And we are actually headed into school education, which is book 3. So I will have 2 more to read if I'm counting right. Yeah, because I've done 3 so far. So this one was very, very good. This book is kind of focused towards parents of children ages 0 to 9. Even though Charlotte Mason is known for, like in the homeschool community, for her philosophy on education, this book really is focusing on parenting in the home, young education for like little ones and children and environment and everything from like being outside to feeding healthy foods and creating and cultivating habits in our children. This was an invaluable book. I would really like to reread this one very soon. So because there's so much in her volumes, you can literally just read them over and over again and always get nuggets of wisdom to help you in your parenting. And so people have asked me, what are some of my favorite parenting books? And now that I have finished this, honestly, I would recommend this book as one of my top parenting books because it is so practical and so chock full of wisdom and insight to early childhood development and education. So highly recommend this, 5 stars, and going to be going through school education over the summer, finishing up in the fall, and I'm excited to share with you guys my feedback on that one as well. All right, so the second nonfiction book was For the Children's Sake. 5 stars. So this book is the book that a lot of moms will be introduced to, and that's how they actually find out about the Charlotte Mason school method. However, for me, I actually started with volume 6 because it was part of a book club. And so I had never read this book, I heard of it in terms of other mothers recommending it. But now that I've read it, I really liked Susan McCauley's voice in this book. She is giving you the perspective of Charlotte Mason education from a very personal point of view, also very practical. I would call this like the introduction or Charlotte Mason for dummies, but we're not dummies, but she really just breaks it down. And so if you're overwhelmed by like the Charlotte Mason volumes, or if you're just overwhelmed by all the voices that are out there on social media about a Charlotte Mason education or just education in general, I think she puts a really clear, simple book together here that covers all the bases of the child as a person. What does that mean? What are Charlotte Mason's principles? How can we practically think about them? And it's just a really good book. So I would also recommend this if you're interested in a Charlotte Mason education specifically, or wanting to just know more about that. This is a very easy and light read that will help you a lot in that decision. All right, so Miss Emmeline is going to join us. She woke up from a very short little nap. But we'll just hang out and share with you guys the rest of these books. So the third nonfiction was The Abolition of Man by C.S. Lewis. This is one of his essays in which he's just talking about the human nature of man, why or why not we make right choices, honor and valor, and it was really good. I would definitely give this a 5-star. It's just an essay. It's a very short book. We did a couple Zooms together, some homeschool moms, and just talked about this book in light of the modern day education. And it was really good. So, okay, then one of the book clubs that I'm part of, we read a book every single month. And so I'll at least read 12 books through the year. And so that's really helpful. It just kind of keeps me accountable in that way. So 2 of the ones that we actually were finished off in the winter, because I did not do a winter book review. It got very busy for me just with the baby's arrival and the last few months of pregnancy. Not only was I not reading very much, I was also not recording very much. So there was a few that I actually read over the end of the winter. So one of them was Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and this one I did not really like. I think I ended up giving it a 3-star. First of all, Frankenstein, I did not know was the name of the man who built the monster. Well, it's not a monster, but it was a monster, but yeah, it's a whole thing. But Frankenstein was actually the name of the engineer. I didn't realize that. I thought that was the name of the monster. I just thought it was really just depressing and sad. And I understand why it's a classic. I mean, it's well written. It's definitely interesting and thought provoking in terms of the fact that, Frankenstein was no one. He was basically a baby in a human form because he was built. And so all of his, things that he is figuring out are through his first interactions with humans and people, and how all of those first impressions really shape him as a person. And so that was just really enlightening. But yeah, his demise is just really, really sad. So I didn't really care for this one. I know some people really like it and some people don't, and so I fall into the don't category. So another one that I would put in the not so great category was this dystopian novel 1984 by George Orwell. And I had never read George Orwell before, somehow just didn't have to do that in high school. I would not recommend this one to my high schooler. There was a little bit of sexual scenes and some profanity. So there's, I think, other options of George Orwell and other options of that dystopian, big power government, structures taking over humanity and controlling us all like little robots and whatnot. So that was kind of the vibe with that book. And so in that way, it wasn't any different. And it was a tragedy. And so, yeah. I always have a really hard time with tragedy books. It's just in my nature to have that happy ending. I know I cannot be the only one that desires that. But if you like dystopian novels and you kind of like that sci-fi, political discussion and ideas, then you probably would like this book. And I think I'll be reading Animal Farm with my oldest. That's part of the Ambleside Online curriculum. And maybe we'll hit some others. But I am happy that my sister's book club exposes me to different types of novels, different genres, different time periods. They're definitely all thought-provoking, and even 1984 makes you think about all the things political and superpower governments and all of that. but that doesn't necessarily mean that I loved it and I will read it again. So that's how I feel about that one specifically. And then I tackled the Bronte sisters the last few months. And that was inspired by my sister's book club. We started off with Jane Eyre, which was Charlotte Bronte. Now, Jane Eyre I had read before, and reading it with a whole bunch of other ladies was so very, very much fun. And I love Jane Eyre. That's definitely a 5-star in my book. It is incredible writing. She really develops the characters so well. So it's Jane and Mr. Rochester. Those are like the main characters. And you really do come to love Jane and her commitment to all things just well and pure, and she doesn't compromise like her she doesn't compromise her opinions or her convictions for the love of a man who truly admires and loves her. And in the middle of the book, his declaration of love to Jane is probably one of the most beautiful written words of like expression of deep love is Mr. Rochester's whole thing to Jane. So good. But what makes Jane Eyre such a good book, if you can get through it, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it is a very, very long book, and a lot of the other girls mentioned that on the book club. It's a long book, but if you can get through it, the ending is so beautiful. It's like just so very beautiful, the story and the redemption and all of it that just comes together, and you're so happy for Jane, you're so happy for Mr. Rochester, and it's just so well done. It really is a timeless classic, and I could reread that one again and again. And I think that's when I'll give a book 5 stars, is like when I will pick it up again. I cannot wait to read it with my kids if they want to, they end up reading it. Just a beautiful, beautiful story that's so well done. So since I had read Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre, I decided to tackle the other 2 Bronte sisters. Wuthering Heights, and this one is by Emily Bronte, and that one is totally different. It is so dark and depressing. I would give it a 4-star. It's not that I didn't like the book. Like, I thought the writing was really good. I thought the story was really good. I just think that maybe because it was so dark, I don't know if I would read it again. It does not really have a happy ending at all. Not really. Sort of, but not in the way that I would have wanted it. But it's a good book. I mean, it's good. But he is just, part of it, I think, was how he was raised and how he was treated, and it kind of goes through the fact of like, how we're nurtured and cared for, how that can impact our decisions, but we're still responsible for our own choices. And he's just a selfish human being. Even if I think Catherine, or the girl in the book, even if she was a narcissist and super just bipolar and unkind to him, he just makes a lot of decisions out of spite and anger and selfishness. And so it's really just sad to see that. But it kind of gets his due. I guess you could say things come full circle. And so in that way, it's a level playing field in the book. It kind of works its way out so that everything is like, the story ends up being neutral at the end. A little maybe even uptick, but yeah, it's something. So totally different than Charlotte, and Emily Bronte had her own thing, Wuthering Heights. And then I don't have the book, so I was like, oh, I want to listen to the other one. And that one is by Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. It's really sad that, the Bronte sisters, I was doing a lot of reading about their biographies and just the life that they lived. And Charlotte was the one that outlived them all. Emily and Anne died. They all died so young, and her family, just such hardships, which you can kind of see through the Emily and Charlotte's books, Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights. But Agnes Grey, I listened to on LibriVox.org, so it was free, was the sweetest story ever. I was telling a friend that I feel like it is the perfect introduction to romance novels for our young girls as they're getting older, because we all like a little love as we get into our preteens and teenagers. It's just fun, especially the wholesome, good, sweet romance. And that's how I felt Agnes Grey was. So even though it wasn't like plot wise, it was very simple. She definitely didn't develop her hero and her heroine characters as her sisters did. Predictable plot, you know, nothing too sophisticated happening in this story. It's like the old British version of a cheesy Christian romance. But I still gave it a 5-star just because I would reread it again, and I thought it was so sweet and cute. And so now I feel like, okay, when I'm talking to other literary friends and they're talking about the Bronte sisters, I'm like, okay, I kind of have an idea now. Charlotte, Emily, and Bronte, their books, and it just makes me feel like a well-rounded individual, and just having understanding. And so I think that's the thing about mother culture and reading and pursuing your education in this way. That's like one of the things that really stands out, is pushing ourselves through these books. The Enchanted April, so I just finished this one. Definitely has mixed reviews and opinions on this one in the book club. But The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim, I thought was really cute. It was a funny book. It's written in like the 1920s, so it's over 100 years old. Good humor, witty. It's about 4 ladies that end up vacationing, taking a vacation in Italy in April, and how the beauty of it just completely changes them and their perspectives on life and their romance and all of that. So many things. But I think in the short little book that it was, she really does develop her characters. You get to know them and their quirks and the things that are annoying about them and the things that are funny and delightful about them, all in a short, quick book. So I think that's really funny. I thought that was a really cute book. It was an easy read. Read it in like you can read in a few days. Nothing too heavy, very light, and just adorable book. So I guess it's like one of her particularly one of her best-selling novels, and I can see why. And that was, it's a great book club book. So if you're looking to like read a book with some friends, then I would recommend the Enchanted April. I thought it was a really just cute book that's good for that. Okay, so then I read Anne of Green Gables again. I read it again for a book club. Now, when I was younger, I actually read Anne of Green Gables. I read the whole series. It is a great series for junior high, even late elementary, depending on how well your reader is. It does go through her whole life though, so that's one reason why I would recommend it for a little older girls, just because it does go through her later years and then her daughter. But we read Anne of Green Gables together, and I think the majority of the girls really loved it because it is a children's book. It was very easy to read, and it was like right after Emmeline was born, so that was a nice little break for me to have like a really easy read. What a delightful story. I mean, how could you not read that and just absolutely adore Anne? She is such a sweet little girl, and just seeing her grow up in that book, because in that book she goes from like 10 to 17 or whatever, so you're getting to experience like all her little growth and changes in her personality and who she is and her outlook on life and her outlook on her hair and everything. You get to go through that, and it's just a really sweet book, and the characters, you just fall in love with them. So I love Anne of Green Gables. That's a 5-star for sure. 2 more books. So one I did listen to actually on YouTube. I had the book, but I think I was just so busy I ended up having to listen to it. But it was Hickory Dickory Dock by Agatha Christie, which was my first Agatha Christie book, and I am trying to do more mysteries. I'm actually currently reading Strong Poison by Dorothy Sayre, which is a murder mystery. So the Hickory Dickory Dock was really good. Totally threw me a spin. I did not guess the murderer at all. Actually, it was like a triple murderer, I think. But that was a really good book. So I think if you like need something easy to read, that these quick, fast, 5-star murder mysteries are probably the way to go. I can see why this is like, those were the books of the moms and the wives before we had like binge watch shows or whatever. You could just pick up these mystery novels and escape from, you know, everything going on, all of your things that you need to take care of, and read this quick short story. So I think that's kind of like where they were at and how they got so popular, because I'm sure they were like punching out, publishing these, you know, murder mysteries like lickety split. And I know that Agatha Christie wrote a lot of them. And so I think if I just need something easy to listen to enjoy, that Agatha Christie, I think would be great, especially on audiobook, because you can listen to them while you're cleaning or whatever. Okay, so my last book for this book review video is actually one that I just finished with my 4th grader. And I'm going to have a lot of pre-reading this summer. So be sure to watch out for like my fall book review, summer book review, because I'll probably cover a lot of the upper years that I'm doing for Ambleside Online, because I'm going to try to read as many of them as I can, because it does help if I pre-read. It helps so much. So I try my very best. But this is Children of the New Forest, 5 stars. We read that together, and actually my other kids listened to it quite a bit themselves. But it is about during King Charles I and King Charles II, his son, you know, Charles I was beheaded. And so it has to do with 4 children in Britain that were loyalists to the king. And so, oh, you little sweetheart, you are so cute. Actually end up having to escape to a forest and learn all of these skills, how to live, how to raise a farm, how to like capture cattle and horses. And we were just amazed at all of these things that these 4 little children learned in the forest. But it's also like historical fiction. So of course you learn a lot about the history and times as well. So, and we really got to know the characters by the end of that book, and we wanted to know what happens. So at the end of the book, they kind of give you a little summary of like everything that happened to these 4 siblings, 2 girls, 2 boys. And so you kind of get that closure, since there's no part 2 to Children of the New Forest. So I thought that was really fun, because you end up being friends with them. And so if they had just left it without that, then I think we would have missed out, because we want to know what happens to you know, these four children. So if you're looking for a good family read aloud, then I would definitely recommend that one. So that is everything. You see, boy, Miss Emmeline joined us today because the kids are outside and Daddy's working, and I thought, oh, we'll just hang out. If she wakes up from her nap, she can just hang out with me. That is today's book review video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and we will see you next time. Bye.